Hit Facebook. Hey. Come on. Hey, come on. Yes. Hi. Hey, y'all. Come on. I keep telling you, if you're on Facebook, you can't hear what we hear. But we hear the music, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Come on. Hey. Come on. Yes. Boom, doom, 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 doom. Hey, come on. All right, y'all, go ahead and share that YouTube link. Yay! And the audience is going wild. So listen, it's your girl, Coach Q, with Chat It Up with Coach Q. It's Sunday already. Can y'all believe it? It is Sunday already. Thank you, for being here, for tuning in with us. I give a shout out to all those who hang with us every Sunday. Give yourself a high five. Did y'all ever go to Chuck E. Cheese and he was like, give yourself a high five? No? Maybe. Anyway, she was great to say wonk, wonk, wonk. Nikki around here doing 4 jobs. So if y'all see any more of the Chat It Up with Coach Q team, tell them, shame on them, where they at. But Nikki can handle it. I'm going to give her some ham, potatoes, tomatoes. Right after we do this, y'all. I cooked today. Aren't y'all proud of me? I'm that good single mom, right? So anyway, listen, thank you again, like I said, for tuning in. The one today, purposefully, I started to take off my lashes. But I didn't take off my lashes because I'm like a turtle now. Because I've wore lashes so much, my lashes are thin. But I took my contacts out because I know your testimony is just going to take me there. So I'm already ready for it. But let me go ahead and really quickly give our announcements to all of our supporters and all of our sponsors. Thank you, for continuing to sponsor Breathe Easy Foundation. Stevie, I love you so much. Thank you so much for being a sponsor. Every quarter, you're giving back to Breathe Easy Foundation, and there's never any way we can repay you, but understand that your donations go back to supporting those caregivers who need help with gas and food vouchers and things of that nature. So again, those who don't know anything about Breathe Easy Foundation is an awareness foundation. We promote the importance of becoming an organ donor. What that means is one person can save 8 lives, y'all. Thank you so much for the likes and the hearts. And so YouTube, thank you as well for tuning in. I give a shout out to my YouTube subscribers and those who continue to watch us on YouTube, because again, we're trying to get some money, and that's where the money gonna come from. But we're this close, y'all. And so somebody asked me, what does any day now mean? Any day we could get our blessing. Any day we can get our breakthrough. There's a millionaire out there waiting to write a check, and they're gonna write a check with Breathe Easy's name on it. I decree and declare that and seal it, all right? So again, we have information on our website at www.breatheeasy.live. Again, that's www.breatheeasy.live. You can click that donate button. That donate button takes you to a website where you can sign up to become an organ donor. As many of you know, my late husband, Derek, aka Cage, transitioned to heaven in February of 2023 after having a bilateral lung transplant at UVA Hospital. He was a victim of a house fire, was in a coma for 2 weeks, and woke up. And the grace of God allowed him to live almost 5 years with those lungs. So again, we're so grateful for that. So continue to pray for myself and for Jordan and for our entire family. So again, Donate Life is there. And I always, I'm ready to tear up. I always like to show, hopefully y'all can see it. It's probably backwards because I ain't put it up today, but everything's fine. You know what I mean? But support us. And also to the Breathe Easy Fitness Studio. Thank you, Breathe Easy Fitness Studio, for continuing to support Chat It Up with Coach Q. Because of the donations made to Breathe Easy Fitness Studio, Breathe Easy is able to sew back into Chat It Up with Coach Q, so that way we can continue to bring you live and active and relevant content. Now you may ask, what is Chat It Up with Coach Q? Chat It Up with Coach Q is where we have everyday conversation about the ish that we as adults go through. And y'all already know there's some ish that we as adults go through. Breakups, dating apps, grown children getting on our nerves. Like, maybe those just probably just my business. I just share it. But y'all know that's the issue. That's the issue that we go through. So let me make sure my phone is on vibrate. I'm going to go ahead and try to get on live on my Facebook so that way I can see y'all comments and be able to share with my guests today what is actually going on and what questions do you have. So you may ask, what is the topic about today? You may want to know what the topic is about today, and I'm going to tell you, and I'm excited. I really, really am. So let me first introduce our guest. Y'all, this bio does not do her justice, or I should say, however, I'm going to go ahead and share with you. And Nikki, just go ahead and get ready as I give some of these things. We're going to get ready. So my guest was crowned as Miss Exquisite.
Yes.
Okay. And I got a whole 2-3 masters and PhD. I said, Nikki, you been like, who? I tell you, when you see it in writing, you be like, is it? Okay. So let me start over. Crowned as Miss Exquisite Full-Figured Virginia 2024 Queen. So listen, Kenna aims to continue her community service with a focus of mindfulness and well-being. She passionately encourages everyone to pause. I can't say it like her. Wait until she say it, y'all. Y'all gonna feel it. To pause and take a breath, promoting mental and emotional alignment that leads to personal elevation. Her platform, hey babe, a quote, breathe. She'd be like, align and elevate, is a call to recognize the power within us to find peace and purpose through the simple act of breathing. And y'all know that's personal for me because breathe easy foundation. Like, that's important. So if you would please put your hands together for Kimberly Crew, AKA Kenna. Kenna, thank you so much for coming to Chat It Up with Coach Q. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So I feel like we go way back because you ripped that stage at my fashion show. Was that last year?
Yes.
Y'all don't recognize that face. Hey, baby, that walk was a walk. Kenna, you remember that? Hey, they were on you, baby. Let's just even start it there. What did that whole experience bring? Talk to us about that experience.
That was amazing. That was my first fashion show.
Really?
Yes. That was my first ever fashion show.
Do you believe that, Nikki?
Yes. That was what I said. It means so much to me. I would never forget that.
Wow.
That was my first pop out. So
yes.
It meant a lot.
Y'all better know that Breathe Easy starts those things, just so y'all know. So the way you walked and came in there, that was the first time.
Remember when I came to that model call?
Right.
And y'all called me out. I broke out in a sweat. That's why I was in the corner.
Oh.
I was so nervous. I wanted to walk out, but Shonda told me, if you come out here, I'm in the parking lot for you. It was my first model call ever, my first fashion show.
Wow.
And I was so nervous. You and Lavita did a wonder helping me out and keeping me through that moment. Just in background encouragement. It was so powerful.
Oh my gosh. So
yes.
That's instrumental to even the conversation we'll have today then.
Yes.
Because they want you on these streets, baby. I know they be calling. You set the tone for that. So thank you. I'm humbly grateful that you decided to even have the courage to come out and join. Because you're not shy. Like when I see you on the dance floor, hey, you be getting it. Okay, so she says she's shy. Y'all heard it here first. But again, so let's kind of jump right into it. So, in 3 words, who is Kenna? I played with the 3 words for that reason because I need you to give it to the people. And because I asked it, I want you, when you say it, give it to them so they can feel it. So I may not have told you, my bad. That main camera is our YouTube, and this, of course, is Facebook. Okay. But tell them what those 3 words are.
Kenna. Found, healing, and restored.
Found, healing, and restored.
Yes.
So put some handles on that. Talk to us about what that means.
That is, people always ask me, who is Kenna? Uh-huh. You know, because I went all my life, for those that may not know, I was born and raised Kimberly Crew.
Okay.
And life has a way of taking you different situations, and God calls you out and says, enough is enough.
Okay.
And I'm calling you different.
Okay.
And when he gave me the name Kenna, I was in a whole other religion. And I was like, okay, so I'm thinking this is a new thing. Not knowing at the same time, this was only a pass by.
Okay.
It was literally somebody who was just using to pull me out of the hole I was in.
Okay.
It was like just a moment of passing. And Kenna means wisdom of Allah. My whole name is Kenna L. It meant wisdom of Allah. Uh-huh. And when I went through my moment, I came back to God, and I was like, what? Uh-huh. I go back to my name because I'm not in Islam no more. And he says, I still called you that for a reason.
Gotcha.
And he says, I need you to know, in that moment, in that season, I had to call you out to hear my name. Because I began to believe so much foolishness and so many lies that I got so far from hearing God's voice and the wisdom, and I was so confused on what to do.
Gosh.
Like every single step, I'm like, I don't know. And I just like, I couldn't do anything. And my mom told me, she's like, baby, use wisdom. And it was something so simple, but I'm just like, what is that? Like,
Right.
you know how you've been so used to making I'm gonna call it what it is, a dumb decision, the dumb decision, the dumb one.
Yeah.
You just don't even know what wisdom is. So just
You
like,
don't. And you have the knowledge, because wisdom is the application of knowledge. You have
Correct.
it. And so she's saying use what you have
correct.
and apply it.
Right, use the wisdom. And I was like, and so, and I was, and looking back, it was something so big in my world, but it really was so small. She was right, use wisdom. And I stopped at a moment. She said, Kenna. And she never called me that. And she said, Kenna, get it together, know who you are.
And know who
and
you are. And she called you Kenna.
Correct.
Not the name that she gave you.
Correct. And that was a game changer for me.
Wow.
Because it lets me know, because she didn't even know all of Kimberly's journey.
Right.
And so it wasn't until I started my becoming, and she was like, why does that name mean so much to you? I ain't calling you because I ain't named you that.
Right.
And when I broke her down what it means, she still didn't go by it. It wasn't until that moment, months later, she said, Kenna, know who you are.
Know who you are. Oh, I can't wait to jump in. Y'all, I was so far ahead. Let me tell you, this is episode 11, and it's entitled, Yet I Stand. And let me tell you how I got here. I heard you at an event, and you were walking. I don't know what the event was about. I don't know if it was a preaching event. I don't know if it was a community event. But there was something she said that arrested me in that moment. And I use arrest because I was frozen. I was unable to move, but in such a fulfilling way. And what you said is, when you find comfort in your rock bottom and your rock bottom gets pulled from under you. You won't tell us about that. She said, when you find comfort, meaning, oh my goodness. Meaning when you've gone through so much and you felt like you hit rock bottom, and now you're like, okay, I might as well be comfortable here, meaning it can't go any lower. And all of a sudden the rock bottom gets snatched from under you, and yet you go low. Kenna, tell us about that, right? Tell me something about that. Hopefully that stirred it up. You said when you find comfort in your rock bottom, and your rock bottom got snatched. I have some questions, but I just want to give you the floor to tell me what that meant when you said that.
You know, growing up, I heard my mom say, you know, you can get sick of it when you hit your rock bottom. Mm-hmm. And we say that not realizing that rock bottom's not a one-time thing. And sometimes it's like a wave of them, and you don't get a chance to get up. So you really get to that thought, you know what? I've been divorced.
Okay.
I've been sexually assaulted.
Okay.
I've struggled with sobriety.
Okay.
I've lost my children for a period of time.
Okay.
I faced homelessness, and yet I'm still here.
Wait a minute. If you are at home and there's something that has been said already from Kenya, what we said, Kenna, what we said or what she said, we want to give you about 30 seconds to go ahead and share this link with somebody. Because I guarantee something you hear today, the same way in that moment it arrested me, because when you said that, it reminded me of all the moments I thought that I couldn't make it, that I wouldn't make it. And it went beyond finances sometime. Okay? It went beyond relationships sometime. But it was relationships. It was finances. It was my children. It was my friends. It was my circle. It was me.
It was me.
And as soon as I thought, like, okay, well, all that's going on and I'm good, something else happens. So you said you were divorced.
Mm-hmm. I remember, you know, I grew up in church.
Right.
And you know, when I said dumb decision after dumb decision, I ended up dating this guy. After having my son at wedlock, 3 years later, I was like, you know, I'll never get pregnant again outside of marriage. Well, guess what happens? I got pregnant again outside of marriage.
Okay.
And one thing I did not want to do was face the shame
of
telling people that I told already I've been delivered, God is working on me.
You don't want to tell a church, baby. You do not want to tell a church.
I done busted wide and got caught.
And got caught.
Because here we are. So what I do? Oh, you gonna marry me? Our first date was July. I got pregnant in September. Our marriage was October. Oh. That's how it is. Because you gonna marry me. We gonna tell these people.
But you know, the point that And I will have a lot of pauses and double clicks because somebody out there is in this situation. And what happened is we perpetuate it by putting ourselves further in something because, not because of God, not because of Christ, but because of the church. And the church is the people. Because we go to the church to get healed. We go to the church to find soundness and support. But to the point now we don't want to do anything wrong, because if we do, then what happens is the church, right? And again, it's people. So y'all want to be clear. I'm baptized, saved, Holy Ghost filled, preach the word. You heard Kenneth talk about it. So definitely we are recruiters of the gospel. The reason I'm pausing there is to say those of us who've been in ministry and who have, what's she doing? What he's doing. And so she was almost forced to make a decision of marriage, not with probably who God called her to be with, because you didn't want to face the shame.
Right.
Tell us more.
So I went through that. And you know what? And let's be clear. When you force something that God ain't called you to, it comes a slew of other headaches. So now I'm in this relationship where he ain't happy, I ain't happy. He has addictions that I'm now fighting his addictions and putting me further into it. I'm stressed out. We fighting physically, fighting other people invited into our marriage. We had adultery going on. It's just a big ball of mess. And we have children in the middle of that mess. And I now have a choice. Do I continue to stay here where I know I am going to hurt him? He's going to hurt me. Or my children will keep seeing this.
Right.
Or do I just suck it up, tell the people, nah, it ain't what it is, and start all over.
That is relevant. I appreciate that because already in this, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, you've said some things that's been very relevant because, teenage pregnancy continues to perpetuate within ministry or whatever. And not just teenagers, adults. We may not get caught. And I call a baby getting caught. Because nowadays we can lay around and we'll go to the clinic. We'll do all that other stuff. And as long as nobody don't know. Because we're too ashamed to share our addictions or our shortcomings and all that other stuff. Because then what, right? Then what? And so it's always Newport News Public School. Just so y'all know, that's who was ringing. They can get past my do not disturb. Just so y'all know. That's who that was. But that's the one part of it. The shame of not being pregnant again and not married. But then now I'm married. But you had to make a decision to say, this ain't it. This ain't it. How did that impact you? Because now you had a dad in the home with the kids. Like, at least you had help or something, right?
Right. And it was really hard for me because, like I said, I was brought up in church. And I have to speak very boldly about this. We had ideals that was embedded into us what a good Christian wife was.
Right.
And I did those things. And for it to still end in divorce, I feel like, man, I did everything right. I prayed. Ooh. I woke up. I covered my home. I anointed my husband. I packed the lunches, put the little notes in there. I made sure that I kept him entertained. And yet here I am with my heart breaking. And I think that's why I went so hard with trying to fight for it. I'm just like, how dare you? I felt snubbed. Like, for real?
You got punked.
You gonna come for me? And I tell people, in that moment, it made me tough.
Oh, goodness.
My mom's always telling me, girl, you wear your heart on your sleeves. In that situation, it kind of made my skin get little calluses on it.
Okay.
And I'm going to say this now, it wasn't for the best.
Gotcha.
Because I did not handle those calluses right.
Okay.
I didn't take the thing and polish them off and smooth the stones. I let the calluses protect that skin. So I let them just stack up. Now you made me rugged. So now, I walk around a little different.
So you thugging now.
Now I'm thugging it. I could look at you with a side eye like, what?
Right.
Them words cut different now.
Right.
Because you took something of me.
Jeez.
Because I was vulnerable.
Right.
I was transparent. And in that, yes, it needed to happen because who I need to be to survive the next few years of my life resided on what that situation brought out of me.
So the scripture that says that all things work together for the good of those that love the Lord and who are called according to his purpose. So even though it wasn't good, God turned around and used it as a springboard to prep you.
Yes, I just heard something that shook me on this. It says, it's true, when that scripture where it says what was intended for good, God meant it for I mean, what was in it for bad, God intended for good. We flip it and say God turned it for good. But the Bible actually said it was still meant for good. That means that simultaneously, that one act had a good and bad.
That is it. In that moment, like a coin. Like a coin, at the same time, it has a heads and a tails.
Yes.
And either or.
And where it lands is up to us what we magnify.
Oh, my God.
So that coin was flipped. And it created something bad in me. But that same ruggedness, when it landed, it got on heads.
It got on heads.
And now that glory reigns.
Yeah.
And and it changed everything how I looked at it. I was like, oh yeah, I'm tough. But I tell you all the time, I'm not put that pit bull on a leash.
Yeah.
That pit bull was needed. I raised 3 boys, and what I'm raising is necessary for me to have that roughness, but now I control that pit bull.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful, but when I decided, you know what, enough was enough, and I left the divorce, it was because I noticed that the change was too great.
Okay.
You know, it's one thing to change, and you get tough, and you're like, okay. But when you no longer recognize yourself.
Wow.
My friend came to visit me. She went off to college, because I was still young. She went off to college, she came back to visit on a summer vacation. And she bought me a gift. And she was like, that's your favorite color. And I was like, I don't like this color. And it got to the point where I was so far from who I was, I done forgot that I loved the color pink. Like, I'm just like, oh, I thought I liked black. Like, you know, black was my thing. But I had gotten so far from who Kenna is, who Kimberly, the nature of, the laugh, the dance. She was like, Kim, like, who is this? What happened? I've been going for a year. What's up?
Right.
And it took her being out to come back in and say, oh, no. And I was like, oh, yeah, it's time for a change.
Yeah.
It's not worth me losing me entirely. So, yeah, I proceeded with that.
So that is so, excuse me, that's so big. There's so much kind of built on that. So just a quick nuggets real quick. That, you know, that same thing simultaneously, as she mentioned, at the same time, it was intended for your bad. It was intended for your good. The Lord will use things as a springboard to that next destination, to that next point, even for such as a time as this, because he knew your end from your beginning, which means he needed that voice and testimony because somebody else out there is going through it. Somebody else out there has lost themselves or feel like that they're compelled to enter into situations that they don't have to.
Right.
And even though you did everything you were supposed to do, you were unequally yoked.
There it is. And if we can pause on that real quick.
Yes, absolutely.
We make that so deep. Where it's unequally yoked and like-minded.
Yeah.
Y'all, it's real simple. It's so simple.
Tell us.
If you are not headed in the right direction and we're not trying to get it the same way, my mom told me this real quick. Kimberly, if you go into Walmart and you plan to get there by bus, why are you getting in a car with somebody who's going to Williamsburg Prime Outlet?
He's not even going your way.
Not even going your way. Not even on the
Not
same
even
route.
same route. Not even the same form of transportation.
Come on, but here you are gonna jump in the car. Yo, you knew you need to go to Walmart by bus, but you're gonna get in and go in the complete opposite direction by a whole nother method of transportation.
Oh my goodness.
And you wondering why you lost. Ever?
Listen. Like, wait a minute, y'all. We're gonna pause right there because we're gonna get deep into this. We gotta first hear from the Queen. Miss Exquisite, full-figured Virginia 2024 Queen. When were you crowned? We're gonna go to another piece of the good corn, the top corn, the head. Tell us when you were crowned and what that meant to you. I wanted to pause right there because we're gonna get lost in that other juice.
Yes.
And we want y'all to go ahead and send this video to your neighbor, friend, cousin, nephew, boyfriend, whoever you just go reach out. Yes. Tell us about it, Queen.
Yes. So, once again, y'all, Breathe Foundation star.
Hey, come on, baby.
I finished that fashion show.
Okay.
I walked out, and I got a text message. It was like, hey, first thing tomorrow morning, call me.
Okay.
I was like, okay. And this is one of my god sisters. She was a model coach, one who made me come out to you and helping me out. And she was like, so have you ever considered a pageant? I was like, now you pushing it. I just walked my first fashion show.
Right.
In a pageant. Like, I don't know nothing about a pageant.
Oh my goodness.
She was like, well, it's beginner friendly and I think you can do it. She said, with that walk, and I know how you talk and I think you can do it.
Right.
And I was like, okay. She said, well, the interest meeting is next week. Well, what in the world? Not even time to think.
Not even time to think. And you need that person that's going to push you.
Right.
Yes, so go.
So I went to the interest meeting, and the first thing she said was, and that I said, okay, I'm in it. She said, I don't want you to think about nothing else. If you have something to say, this is the pageant for you. And I was like, well, doggone it all.
Yeah.
Because I knew I had something to say. I knew this wasn't for nothing, but I didn't know what it looked like.
So it was that voice elevation that platform created for you.
Correct. So Hey Babe wasn't even existent then.
Really?
No. I literally had no idea. And she's like, what is your platform going to be? I said, huh? What is a platform? She said, well, why are you doing the pageant? Okay, I don't know.
You couldn't tell her because your friend told you that, right?
She's like, well, what is your cause? And I was like, well, I believe in mental health.
Right.
And I'm really big on yoga and taking that breath. And she was like, okay, well, run with that. I was like, okay. So I went home and I was praying. And it was literally, all I kept hearing was my mom. Again, I love you, Mom. My mom's the best, y'all.
Right.
I love her, bless her soul. But she said, always used to say to me, Kimberly, breathe. I get so anxious and I get frazzled. She's like, breathe.
Right.
Breathe, Kimberly.
Right.
And I was laying in bed and it's like, I heard her voice saying it. Kimberly, breathe. I was like, breathe. Okay, breathe.
Okay.
And then I heard, hey, because I'm getting anxious because I got to turn my platform in. I'm like, hey. She said, breathe. And I woke up and I'm playing it with, hey, breathe, 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 period, breathe in. And then most I was like, there's steps. And I was having all these steps. And then my son was like, Mom, that's too many words. Like, you doing too much.
Yeah.
And then we started playing with just making his words. And I get to breathe the line, elevate. And I was like, B-A. Hey, babe, hey, babe. And that's how Hey Babe got started. And then, honestly, it's like everything from when Hey Babe dropped in my spirit, it took off. And I remember going through the pageant, I was like, I don't think I can win this. I don't think I am first one doing this. I don't have the backing like everyone else has. I do not have the sponsors. I don't have the trainers. Like, when they showed up, Coach Q, I showed up with a Walmart bag.
Hey, listen.
Stuff in a book bag. They come with racks and coaches. And I'm like, oh, no.
Oh, baby.
This ain't it. So the whole time, the Holy Spirit kept telling me, pray. I got you. I'm going to get you through this. It's bigger than you. And that's all I kept saying was, I cannot make this about me. Because me, I won't win.
Right.
But this is truly Hey Babe and about God and getting it out there. I truly believe that everyone needs to live the life of Hey Babe. It's what God called us to live, life of peace and love. That's what He's telling us to live. So I'm like, I have to spread this. I have to get it out there. And I was going up there, and I was so surprised. One of the girls called me the night before. She said, Ken, did you get an assistant? I said, no. She said, I'm going to drive up there. She said, I might be late, but I'm going to drive up there.
Okay.
So I'm getting dressed. I look back. The day of the pageant, she is hauling up the steps.
Yes,
I was like, God, thank you.
Yes, He'll put people in support.
So she's getting me straight, and we're going, and my hands are shaking, and she's like, let's pray. And when I say we just started having, I forgot my makeup is done. We were back to having full-blown worship.
Right.
And she was like, you got this. If nothing else, let them see the glory. And she said, when you dance, make sure you let them see the glory.
Right.
She said, Kenny, it's not about you. Make it all about God. So when I went to the pageant, people asked, how was it? I'm like, I don't remember. I was so caught up in the worship. Like, that's all we kept doing was worship. I got off the stage, I would go back to worship mode. Like, I could not afford to look at anybody else or see anybody else watching through the window. I couldn't do it. Like, I just I had to stay in the zone. So we're there, and then people are getting called and crowned. I'm just like, Lord, I just wanted to melt. Like, I'm all over the place. And when they said the second place runner-up, I'm like, they didn't call my name. That being said, I don't want. So I wanted to run off the stage.
Yes,
The process of elimination. Like, it's only me left. It's only me.
Wow.
So when they called my name and said, come here to get crowned, when she put the crown on me, it almost felt so surreal because all I saw was the flashes of the homelessness, of the abuse, of the hungry nights, of the pain and the tears that I cried that I couldn't even vocalize. You know, things that you went through that you can't even talk about yet.
Can't even talk about.
And in that moment of I was excited. Those tears that ran down my face, they were hot tears. Because God was saying, I still crowned you.
I still, in the midst of all that. I'm going to give you this, Nick, so we can put the little comment in there. Thanks for joining, or if there's any questions or what do they have. You've said just so much because I think about exactly what that meant. Even you having your moment of pause to go into another religion. We can say what we want about that religion is disciplined.
Yeah.
There is discipline. There is soundness and focus that even from a Christianity perspective, and I don't expect y'all to agree, that we can pick up on because it's discipline. It disciplines you to focus.
Mm-hmm. I will say that, and I tell people about that all the time. Like, I will not take away, and I don't know if you follow me or listen to my things. I respect all school of thoughts because I will not be foolish enough to chop somebody else's down. Because God says it very clearly. He says, my ways are not your ways and my thoughts are not your thoughts. I will not waste time to argue with someone about the goodness of your God. And when I know there is one God we serve and we all will see him.
Right.
If we're living the life according to the gods that we serve, then what do we have to worry about? We getting caught up in too much. But I tell people, when I was in that religion and I was bowing down, do you know that I still could only hear Jesus? I remember, I tell people all the time, I remember one time I was in temple. And I went to go utter the prayer, and Jesus came out. I was so embarrassed. Like, what in the world?
Hey, baby. Hey.
There it is. But you're right. It taught me a meditation and a stillness
right.
that we are supposed to do in our walk. That we are supposed to do. So I'm like, oh, I got up that moment and took my hijab off. But at the same time, I did not stop meditating that way. I knew then that I was called to pray that way. We are called to put our heads down and seek him daily.
Yeah.
Throughout the day, without distraction, come holy and clean. I'm like, why aren't we doing this?
Right. And that's I always think about the Hebrew boys and what they represented and the prayer and all those disciplines that are exhibited even in the Bible that we don't integrate into our daily worship as Christians, as believers, but that other religions may have or they may do or they may honor. I was in the nail shop some weeks ago, and my nail technician, which is of Asian descent, they were bringing in fresh fruit and all this stuff. And I was like, oh, those grapes are good. And, I'm like, they look good, y'all, And I was like, you gonna have the grapes? She was like, oh, we got to give them to Buddha first. And I looked, and Buddha was a statue. And they laid out fresh grapes and all that stuff right there. And she was like, at the end of the night, then we eat it. I was like, oh. Like, I didn't. But what I say that to say in their place of worship, they created time to give their first fruit to their God. And it's so convicting because from a Christianity standpoint, we ain't giving up for first fruit. Now, there's no way y'all can have a conversation with Coach Q and we not talk about Christ and the Lord and believers, even though that's not the framework necessarily of Chatting Up with Coach Q. However, it is why we're here today because I heard his voice. And God will use, from a Seven Mountain perspective, our giftings, right, in order to infiltrate, in order to penetrate the world, because otherwise y'all may not come to the church, because we just heard Kenneth say, y'all don't want to hear that we're struggling with homosexuality. You don't want to hear that we're struggling with fornication. You don't want to hear that we're struggling with adultery. You don't want to hear that it was our children that act up that robbed the store. You don't want to hear that it was our child who did this. But guess what? Those in the ministry, that's what it is many times. And so the reason I wanted to pause and say that is because what this woman of God has given us so far, and we haven't even touched into her journey and her testimony, but so much of what she's given me, she said all the stuff that she went through created the platform for Hey Bae, and God yet crowned you. Mm-hmm. The mother, the woman who had 2 babies and wasn't married, the same woman who was involved in a broken home or a domestically violent home, who went into divorce, the same mother or woman who was homeless, who struggled with her sobriety, all of that, and yet he crowned you. Mm-hmm. What does that say? Let's take a moment and I'll let you talk to the people. What does that yet he crowned you? How does that, talk to them? Because I know that gift. I saw you walking. I wish I had a mic and we could move the cameras, because when you walk, you give us something. But we're going to sit down and say, what does that do for you?
And yet he crowned you. That crown is so much more than jewels and framework. But that crown is literally saying you're valuable. It's literally saying that you're called to stand above And I think that we need to understand that our shortcomings and our failures are only failures if we stay there where we fail. We can be crowned victorious when we overcome wherever we are. So when he said, I still crowned you, for me, I attempted suicide and he said, I crowned you. That means that depression can no longer rule me, but I rule it. When he says, I still crowned you, that means that fornication can't rule me, but you rule it. When you are playing chess and you are crowned, that chess player gets more power, more authority to move around that board. So no longer are your failures and your setbacks and your negative things crowning you, but when God crowns you, that glory tops everything. And now you can move those negative things where it's necessary. Now I could take down my hat and talk to the drug addict because I don't feel shame no more.
Right.
Been there and I've been crowned with his glory, and so can you. So what's up? So for years, I walked around scared, embarrassed. Like, I used to be this. I used to be out there. I used to live a poly life. I used to live all these things, so scared to tell people because I don't want them to know.
Right.
But when you get glory crowned on you, you don't care no more because the souls matter more. I care more about the light that I'm going to bring to the dark than what other lights might think about me.
Ooh.
There it is.
I don't know if I got it. Say that again. Say that again.
I care more about the light that I bring to the darkness than about the light that judges me.
And y'all already know. When I decided to date Kenna, do you know it was more light that judged than it was the folk I didn't know? What? And her husband just died. The key word was he was dead.
Don't do that. I can't.
I know. I'm bless his whole soul. Love him. I mean, love you, Derek, for life, forever. Nobody like you anywhere, Cage. That was a time.
Right.
I believe God enough that God could have healed him and raised him and kept him and sustained him. However, it was his time. His lungs failed. That was just it. But yet people wanted to keep me in death and in darkness, the light. But the light of my situation now has helped more people go date. Y'all, people be inboxing me saying they got their little boyfriends and stuff. They be going out on their little dates. They be doing all that stuff. And I be like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? Like, that's, God will use us. Mm-hmm. So it took me standing up almost like you don't need anybody's permission. Let me be clear. But when you see somebody that you respect or somebody you've watched, you be like, oh, it's okay. And I could give a hoot nanny, 2 cows and a biscuit. I said 2 cows and a biscuit because you put a piece of sausage.
I better say the same thing. That's a meal. That's a meal. I didn't catch that.
That's a meal. Like, so I don't care what they think. My thing is, what can I do? Because I'm alive. Now, you were giving it to the people. I'm just wondering when you're going to when you're going to say the hey bae and what, I know you told us what it means, but in your way. So get that to the people, y'all. Yes. I need y'all to go ahead and get this. Go ahead.
Hey bae is a simple phrase with a powerful message. It means to breathe, align, elevate. Take a breath. You are a breath away from change.
Y'all heard it here. Y'all heard it here on Chatting Up with Coach Q. Did y'all feel it? Breathe. Align. Okay? That's what you got to do. And so when you be like, hey, babe, you know, when that man come home from work and, you know, sometimes you in your mood and he just move, hey, babe, what you're telling him is to breathe, align,
elevate.
Elevate.
It is a command, y'all. Like, when I tell people I live hey, babe, it's not a 5-minute thing. It truly is a intentional, conscious thought. To breathe. It's not just the inhale, exhale. It means to pause. Take a breath. Because sometimes it don't necessarily be our mate that's getting on our nerves. We are tense. We are hungry. We are tired.
Right. It's so much.
Align just simply means like, somebody told me this years ago and it altered everything I did. Mm-hmm. I had to go to anger management because I used to cut up, y'all. And the message was, work it backwards. Align literally is to work your problem backwards. If my goal is to go on a date this weekend, I can't keep ignoring every single inbox and telling every single dude no and cutting an eye at everybody saying, come try to talk to me.
Right.
It's backwards. Align simply means that if this is what I want to do, what is necessary going backwards to achieve my goal? Elevate simply saying, all right, it's real. I have every right to be upset with you. I have every right to take your head off. But I don't want to go to jail. So I'm going to find another way to talk about it. And although you deserve it, I'm going to rise above it and we're going to come up with a solution.
Come up with a solution.
That's all it is. It's simple things. And I know that we want to make it big. And like, well, what about they do this? Going back to my parents, back in 8th grade, my dad said it. Every math problem is a simple problem, just made big.
A simple problem made big.
It does not matter, well, oh, he done called me this and they done did this. And your feelings were hurt. They were wrong. How can we fix it?
How can we fix it?
And let's move above it.
That's it.
It's simple. Breathe, align, elevate. It is that a lot of us are going through hurt and are going through things because we feel like we not being seen. Some of us can't express what we to even talk about it.
Right.
So it's just all these emotions pent up and no one wants to stop and say, you know what? I'm hurting for this reason. You are hurting for that reason. So maybe our hurts are truly just bouncing off each other.
Right. Hurt people. Joyce Meyer says it. That's just, I mean, we do like hurt people. That's why I say givers give, lovers love. Like, I believe that. I believe in the law of attraction. I believe in affirmation. I believe in all of that. So you are so right. Like, I told this story before, but a young lady I used to work with, and she was just mean. And she used to just like scare everybody off. And even though I ain't no fighter, y'all, I was like, I ain't no punk either. And one day I got her like in the office. I was like, you're not going to keep bullying people. You definitely not going to bully me. Come to find out, she was being abused at home by her husband.
Wow.
And so she was bringing that back to work.
Wow.
Mistreating people as a result of what she was getting.
Wow. And you know, it's so crazy because the way the world is right now, everyone is hurting from something. Everyone is hurting from something. And if we're not taking the time to say, you know what, I recognize that you might be hurting. How can we fix this? Like, no one wants to get to that next part. Like, dang, I recognize you hurting. Because my hurt is bigger than your hurt.
Yeah.
My hurt is different than your hurt. You don't get my hurt. Like, stop that.
Yeah, because it's relative. Hurt is relative. So I'm glad you said that because you've answered a lot of my questions, but it brings me to like a 2-part question. And I want you to kind of play with this and then integrate if as you see fit. And I heard this in your testimony as well as related to like when you're going through the pageant. I don't know at what point, but your son or something that went on there. But what is your take on the mental health crisis plaguing our nation? Like, what based on what you said, like we're all going through something. So what is your take on the mental health crisis? And then how do you then true that back to mental wellness? And how do you keep yourself sound with all of the stuff I heard you testify about? Like, so talk to us about that. Because you said we all going through something, and that's the truth. Everybody's story is different. Everybody's story is different. And so as you're thinking through that, people tell me all the time, oh my gosh, you got a house, you got these cars, you got a good job, you got, baby, but if you can't sleep at night,
we still got a problem.
There's an issue. I will take a 1-bedroom apartment, baby, a Lunchable, and some cup of noodles with me and Jordan and not have to worry about, because guess what? With these cars come property tax. With this house, property tax keep going up. With this, you got to clean. So people don't know all this stuff brings added pressure. So I'm not moved by all this. This is just a residual of the hard work I did, but this doesn't explain who I am.
Right.
And so that stuff fights against my mental wellness. It brings extra stress and extra, all those things. So when you think about yourself and just this nation, based on the comment you made, how do you, what is your take on that?
And to anybody, I speak because I'm a Black woman. I can speak from a Black woman's perspective.
Yep, we have to respect that, right?
When it came to mental health and mental wellness and handling my trauma and struggles, I was told to be quiet.
That's it.
If I could be honest, like, I raised my children in my trauma. And my oldest son, I love him to smithereens.
So your children, how old are your children?
They're 20, 17, and 16 now.
Okay, 20, 17, and 16. Wow.
Yes. So when I raised my children, I raised them because after my divorce, I made a choice that I would not date while raising my children.
Okay.
So for 10 years, I didn't date nobody.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that was just my thing. I wanted to focus on making sure that they knew I was here for them.
Right.
So no one told me to do that. So that was a suffering and a silence. So I carry this thing like I'm by myself. I'm doing this on my own. But truthfully, no one told me to do this on my own.
Right.
So this was one thing that I carried alone. But what I did not realize was I was teaching my children to handle their hurt and their feelings in silence as well. So life is going on, and now my oldest son is 18, and we're bucking. Mm-hmm. You know, they grown, if they want to do it. So he leaves out. And I'm just like, you know what? You want to be grown, you're going to do what you're going to do anyway. I'm still hurting, still dealing with my things. He's dealing with it. I didn't know he was dealing with things. And it was about a year later, someone called me, one of my old coworkers, and she was like, Kim, you talked to your son lately? And I was like, nah. She said, I think I see him on a park bench, sleeping. What? Nah.
Not my son.
Can't be, because I'm right here. You know what I'm saying? I didn't kick him out. He left. I'm right here. So I called him. Hey, Mom, what's up? Pause. You sleeping outside? Hello? Son, what's up? Man, I ain't want to talk to you about it. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to figure out my own.
Because you had silently taught him to deal with it alone and in silence. Because that's what you were taught to do.
Baby, when I say in that moment, the world stopped because I heard me. I heard me saying it. My son was so broken and so confused with life, but had no idea who to talk to, where to go. Wow. And then the last thing I said was, since you got the answers, you go ahead and figure it out on your own. So he'd rather sit on a park bench and sleep than go talk to somebody to figure it out or come back to me. Right. And that's when I said, you know what? Oh, no, I have a problem. Because he started talking to me, and he's like, you won't even let me get things out before you start yelling at me. You know all these things. And just like,
yes.
And it came my accountability moment. That, you know what, talking about what you're saying with your coworker. The very things he was saying, I was talking to him, was the same way my ex-husband used to address me.
Oh, yeah.
The zero tolerance, the things that we've learned through our trauma, I was perpetuating and didn't even know it.
Wow.
So now I'm forcing my son to feel the same way that I'm feeling and knowing how it's breaking me. Boys are boys, though. In the middle of all this, I'm trying to fix it now. And he did something. I don't even know what all he done did, but anyway, he ended up in jail.
Okay.
So now I am extra broken because as a mom, I have to deal with, and if we're honest, the guilt of knowing that I didn't handle that right.
Right.
I did not do my best in upbringing and parenting him, that my child didn't know he can come to me as a mom.
Wow. Wow. So pause right there and talk to, I don't know, mothers in that moment. What would you say then to a mother out there that may be estranged from her child, or may be, and not that we condone disrespect and all that stuff. Let's just call that stuff out. But what would you say? What do you say above all of that to them, if anything?
And I think that is big, that there is a thin line between the disrespect, tolerance,
right,
and giving grace and love.
Ooh, yes.
But what I will say is, make sure the love that is given is more important than a lesson being taught. Because what I had to learn is, if you love correctly, the lesson will be taught. I was brought up old school, where you beat the lesson in love her. You know I love you because I beat the lesson.
I love my kid. I love my kids too, and I beat you.
Spare the rod, you spoil the child. If I didn't love you, I wouldn't beat you.
Right. Or spank Facebook. We spank it. We
Facebook. I'm not bad.
Not beat. Be that Michael Jackson. That's what we
that's what she
say.
meant.
That's what we say.
Don't block us. Don't
block us.
drop it.
Don't block us. Don't block us. Okay.
But I would say make sure that you love on them. Meet them where they are. Because you know, I tell people this all the time. We are grown adults. There is no manual to life. We fall short and we miss the mark. We want to make sin being this nasty thing, and sin means you fell short and you missed the mark. You will miss the mark to the day that you die, y'all.
Yeah.
So we cannot expect our children to be any different. And God does not handle us with the same scolding that we handle our children. So what's up with that? So I would tell the mothers out there, yes, it is scary out there. And yes, our boys are facing different worlds. But the fear of the love that we invest in them. Now with the other two, the rough draft, we laugh about it, so don't judge me, y'all. Me and my oldest son have a different relationship. We laugh about him saying being the rough draft. The first time around was the rough draft, but the other two, I learned to love on them to get the lesson. And I tell you right now, if I tell them I'm disappointing in them, they will boo-hoo harder than when I used to make them do wall sits and hold them against the, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know
one leg up. One leg up.
Mm.
Y'all remember my parents, one leg up in the corner. Mom, if you watching, I mean, we used to do that. Me and Ty used to have to stand in the corner with one leg up and we couldn't turn
all
around.
that stuff, and you know what I'm saying? When we laid hands and we was anointing them with extra power.
Listen, girl, I used to get my sons, if they watching, I was like, drink this holy oil. I would make them drink it. We laugh about it to this day. But they was going to drink them some olive oil that's been prayed on.
But I'm saying, looking
Just
back,
the stuff.
But looking back, it's like, dang, I'm sure it was a whole other way we could taught that lesson
Right.
that would have been more effective.
Right, more effective, right.
And that's truly what it is. And our children are missing that part. They're missing the talking. So, moms, if you out there, I don't care how long it's been, talk to them before you chastise them, before you get at them and tell them how crazy that idea is, because it do be crazy. Just let them know you love them and you get it.
Let them know you love them and
I tell my boy all the time, let's walk it out. Because my son had a crazy idea the other day, y'all, to the baby boy. I mean, it was outright real ridiculous. And I wanted just to shut it down. I said, let's walk it out. So if you do that, then and this happens, then what? So when the police do that, then you do what? And so you do know that is actually a felony and you're going to get this. He was like, oh, yeah, man, I ain't know that did all that.
Yeah.
So sometimes if you allow them to walk it out, just like with us with God, if he allows us to see it, like, oh, no, I ain't even work for all that. Like, my other son, he called me one day. Tom's like, he thought he got some girl pregnant. And my middle son's autistic. So I was like, you had sex with her? Son, you having sex? No, Mom, no, I wouldn't do that.
Well, how you get a break?
But when I say he called me, he couldn't breathe. Like,
Right.
Son, she said when I touched her, that's all it.
Oh.
So something small
So
like
certain
that.
things is literal. Yeah. Okay, got
Something
it.
so small, but if we're not careful and we don't let them walk it, I would have been all the pieces. You out here doing this, you know,
Right.
And he didn't even touch the girl thigh.
Right.
But if we allow ourselves to get worked up without pausing, aligning, and elevating,
Right.
realizing who you're talking to, making a rash decision, then you might save yourself the troubles.
Save yourself the troubles. I love that. I looked down at my watch and was like, Dad, we got 7 minutes.
Wait.
That time, like, you see how the hour. Listen. So,
man,
I don't know.
wait.
Wait a minute. But is there any questions, any comments from the audience at all, Nikki, that we can share?
Yes, so Christina Denise, she says, well, thank you for all of your comments, Christina, first of all. She says it's real and most of she says it's real and most of those who have mental health issues just want to be normal. So I ask, who defines normal?
I love
That's
that.
a good point.
You know what? Thank you for that, because you're right. Normal, I tell you all the time, there is no normal.
Yeah.
Normal is truly what works best for you.
Yeah.
And I think the best part of knowing your normalcy is knowing you. I did not know I was off until I knew what it was like to be balanced.
That's it.
It wasn't until I learned to think and have healthy thoughts that I could recognize, oh, that's nasty thinking. Like,
Right.
You off in your thoughts. So you have to, and you couldn't be the one to tell me that. I used to watch you all the time because, you know, I'm fitness wise, I'm like, I want to be like her. So I'm trying to imitate your ways. Like, she looks healthy. She looks strong. She looks this. But I'm like, I can't move like that. I don't exercise like that. And when I exercise, it don't bring me joy like that. Like when she walking, she be all happy. It don't make me happy the way it make her happy. Like we're
I
not
thought
doing
that was just a rumor, but people really believe. I do be happy. They see that. That's what I'm glad I exude that. But what did you have to do for you? Can we insert that? What did you do? Because I know you were larger, right? What did you? What helped you with your weight loss?
I did a modified keto.
Okay.
For me, it was really big on portion control because I'm an emotional eater.
Okay.
And so as I stress, I eat. If I'm not hungry, if I'm stressing, I don't eat. So then I would go sometimes days when not eating. So literally, it took me. I would eat like a toddler.
Okay.
And when my stomach growled, I ate. The minute I said I was satisfied, I stopped eating.
Okay.
That means I ate like 2 chicken nuggets and 3 fries. I stopped. If 30 minutes later I was hungry again, I ate again. And so that worked for me. And then I just stopped eating one by one. I didn't do nothing cold turkey.
Okay.
I did it one by only on weekends I drank soda.
Okay.
Only on weekends I only ate meat. And then I cut it back to only once a month now.
Okay.
I did this until it slowly came off. It took me 2 years, but over 2 years I lost 137 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah.
2 years, 137 pounds. And see, that's why I tell people, let me say this. She talked about, she did 100 jumping jacks, 1,400 push-ups, 20 miles around. So when I tell y'all, I do walk and exercise a lot. I'm not as small as Kenna because it's in the kitchen. So my exercising and all that does help with my heart and stuff like that. Let me be clear. But I work out a lot because that's how I balance my mental wellness. So when people see me walking, that's my way of doing it. I'm strong as a beast, though, but I keep saying if I can, and I don't even eat a lot, but it's then the portion control and different things like that. But you do have to eat. And what you said that was key, which I learned when I got certified, like if you hungry, eat, like, and eat multiple times and in portions and smaller portions, and that's how your body knows, well, if I get hungry, she gonna feed me.
Right.
As opposed to feed me, then I gotta wait 20 hours again to eat and all that other stuff. So those things are key. So I talked about, before we go, because I wanna make sure, what activities or what community, as a community influencer, Queen, what are some things that are coming up that you're participating in that you'd like to share with our audience?
All right, September 28th, I will be walking in the Eye of the Darkness walk in Virginia Beach.
Okay.
I'm really big on suicide prevention awareness, so we'll be doing that. This is my first time actually walking in Virginia Beach, so I'm excited about doing that.
Awesome.
I've also been volunteering with the Riverside with their volunteer phone services for suicide crisis hotline.
Wow, okay.
So I do appreciate that we are bringing more awareness to suicide intervention and suicide awareness. And also, I want people to realize that suicide is more than just affecting the person that take their lives.
Right.
It affects those that have to watch those, because the attempts are not always successful. So sometimes it's really hard to live with someone who attempted, and then we have to talk about the guilt on both sides.
Right.
So I've attempted a suicide before, and unfortunately my children had to bear witness to it. And so we talk about that. We make that an open conversation where they understand that suicide is not because you're weak. It's not something that it was an escape or because you don't love the people that you might be leaving behind. But it truly is, 1, a sickness, and 2, when you honestly feel like you have no way out. And I want to make sure that those out there know that no matter what, there is a way out and does not have to be by death. So please debunk that you are alone, because you are not alone. You are not weak because you have those thoughts. There are several things that plague us and affect that, believe it or not. And some of it could truly be a chemistry imbalance. So please do not always just assume because you're thinking about it that is your escape.
Right. And it really goes, that's so good. It really goes back into a decision. And, I was actually talking to a suicide prevention counselor, looking to have them on this show. And then maybe you can come back and tell us, even during that episode, what your experience was like. Because if we're honest, a lot of us have thought about it, maybe not have tried because we were too scared to try. So you're not a coward in doing it. Like it's so much kind of bundled up in that we don't even have time to necessarily unpack because we only have a couple of minutes. Oh my gosh, time flies when you're having fun. Thank y'all so much for listening in. Please, please, please make sure that you go over to Chat It Up with Coach Q on YouTube. Like, follow, share, subscribe, and do all that stuff that you need to do. Make sure that they follow. How can they follow you? What are your handles, as they say?
On IG is Lady _ KKD. On Facebook is Miss Exquisite Queen 2024.
2024, baby. So y'all make sure that y'all do that, all right? Y'all, thank y'all so much. I know y'all gonna feel like we ain't get through it all. Nikki was over here thinking about this food I'm gonna give her that I cooked that you could smell down here. I know they could smell it when they walk in. But y'all always tell them it ain't like it's just gonna cut off because I control the hour. We just try to stick it to an hour because we know y'all be ready to eat and smooch and get back on your little dating apps and stuff. What y'all be doing after y'all get off with me? I'm just teasing. Y'all know what I'm saying. Y'all see my shoulders today. Do y'all know what today marks though? You know what today marks? You don't know. A year ago today, I'm gonna go a little bit over, but look, a year ago today, I got my first tattoo. Virgo, breathe easy, and I got one back here. And now I got all of them, y'all, within probably 6 months. I got like 20-something tattoos all in 6 months. So yeah, let me show y'all my back again. I like being, y'all, let me show y'all. Y'all see that? So I be feeling all like hard and stuff like that, y'all. So I just wanted to tell y'all today is my tat year anniversary, okay? And then I woke up one morning, Kenan saying, I ain't want no tattoos no more. My mama and them be like, weird. You talking about mental wellness, like, listen.
It's a thing.
It's a thing. I be like, woo. So y'all, thank y'all again for tuning in to episode 11, where our episode was Yet I Stand. When you think that you've hit your rock bottom and you found comfort in it and your rock bottom get pulled from under you, you fall and yet you get crowned queen. Yeah. Y'all, again, thank you so much, Kenna, for hanging out with us. We'll have to have her back. All right, you, and you. We'll see you this time next week. Thank you so much. And until we meet again, if you're on YouTube, we're going to dancing out with you. If you're on Facebook, like, follow, share, subscribe on YouTube. Yes, thank you, Kenna. Hey, come on. Thank you so much, YouTube. We appreciate y'all. Until next time. Bye.